Hi, Tony Coleman here, London Elektricity, and I'm going to guide you through the making of Meteorites. And I've mixed a new version for Crikey. There's an interesting kind of evolution here. So I'm going to play you the sketch that I wrote August the 12th 2010 when the Perseid meteor shower was happening outside my window of my Crystal Palace house, hence the name. The meteor shower was going on, I could see it out of my window, and I made this little sketch which sounds quite different from Meteorites. So I gave this to Elsa and she wrote the song over it, and when she came to England, to London from Stockholm, I kind of really changed the music to what you know Meteorite sounds like, and then we finished the song together. It was quite a tricky song to write. So what have we got in Meteorites? Well, I don't really know where to start. Let's start with the drums. That's always a good place to start. And there are hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. My God, there's so much in there drum wise. Let's have a little peek into actually, when they're all firing, what's in there, shall we? Because that will kind of tell us a little bit. So I think the main break is Baco grease. And very, very compressed to get that cymbal to come out. And then there's Pac-Man as well. And that's just got the brilliant Cubase multi-band envelope shaper. I've just taken the transients down a bit at the top end and boosted a little bit at the bottom end, and what I've done is, this is really good on drum breaks actually to do this. I've reduced the release on the low frequency, that's from 0 up to 500 hertz, and that does make a huge amount of difference. If I take out the envelope shaper without, so that actually removes a lot of that sort of mud in the low, mid and low frequency region. By removing the decay, the release as it's called here, you actually lose a lot of that mud. This is a brilliant tool in drum breaks, the multi-band envelope shaper. Props to Newtone for alerting me to its presence when it came out. So right, extra snare, what's that doing? Okay, it doesn't sound like it's needed, but I won't take it out because it might be important, you never know. And then there's hand claps. Cool, all good. Looks like I forgot to do my low cut, which is essential on anything that isn't needed for sub, which is normally just the sub, occasionally the kick, and occasionally part of the bass line, high bass line. Right, the ride, it's compressed with the Cytomic glue bus compressor, and I've got the Sound Toys Pan Man just to kind of move the ride around a little bit, and it works, sounds really nice. And that is a composite ride. I've got a big sample library of all sorts of different types of drum track and drum brake. I've got loads of rides, and what I like to do is to piece them together and make a unique kind of like sample palette for the tune I'm working on. Right, there's 2 shaker tracks. One has got a very distant sort of like drum thing going on. That's fine, that's all good. And I've got them panned left and right. Let's see the subgroup that they go to. They're going to a shake subgroup, which has got this clean sweep. Is a really nice free plugin, and I just use it to cut low and sometimes high at the beginning of the effects chain. This is going through the SPL Vitalizer, which is doing quite a lot. It's really, really good at bringing out very high frequency harmonics, and there's a stereo expander as well, which is quite nice. So it's a bit like the All Exciter, but different and probably better, I'd say. That's the shakes, and then we have got we've got fast hats. Also got the Vitalizer on again. About there, because I don't need that in there. And just like me crash cymbals track. There we go. That's our crashes, and that goes to the cymbals burn subgroup, which doesn't have anything on it, but again, let's just cut the very bottom end off that. We don't like that. It's better. Why do we cut the bottom end off almost everything? Because that's how you escape a muddy mix for the most part. That's why we do it. A lot of tracks that you may not think do contain quite a lot of sub-bass information, and some of it's below the audio threshold that you can hear, but what it does, it takes up loads and loads of space inside your DAW, especially on the stereo output channel when you're mixing, and it's space that isn't needed because you can't even hear it, you don't want to hear it, but it's there, and it muds up the whole thing, and it activates the bus compressor and means you can't get the tune loud enough. So the way to do that is to make sure there is no sub frequencies on any track at all that doesn't need them. Okay, that is our drums. Okay, let's have a little butchers at the bass. Always interesting to see what is going. Oh, there's 4 different components to the bass here. So the first component is my friend the Ace synthesizer. If you don't know what Ace is, it's definitely my workhorse, my go-to. I'll show you what it is. It's really, really, really good bass. Good synth rather. Had it for a while now, and it just doesn't go out of date for me. It's a very, very good, straightforward, amazing quality subtractive synthesizer, and what I love about it is that there's a quality control here, and if you put that onto accurate, it will use almost all of your CPU. So when you've written a bass line that you're really happy with and you're ready to render it, put that on accurate quality before you render it, and that'll be the best possible quality there. When you're kind of like just working, you can keep it on standard. So the presets are amazing. So many really interesting sub basses, but with character, you know, which is what we like. We don't just like a straightforward sine wave. So yeah, that's what I used for this. And oh, hang on. Oh, here we are. Yeah. So that's the high component. And my subgroup is appropriately called Fart Bass, and it's got a sidechain compressor, which is probably sidechained, I would say, to the kick drum, because this was 2010 I was making this, and that's what you did in 2010. You sidechained everything because it was cool. So what else we got here? We've got sub bass wobble, which is that little kind of wobbly bass which accompanies the low bass, which is and I'll put all the basses in. So you got the farty bass, and there's an 808 that comes in the choruses. Really quite aggressive, that one, but it's great with the drums actually. That 808 really kind of brings that part to life. So now on the bass subgroup, I've got it all going through the Ozone 5 maximizer. It's an old one, the Isotope Ozone 5, but brilliant for catching peaks. It's so quick to use and so intuitive, and it really helps with, like, when you've got compiled bass. It's brilliant. Yeah, that's good. The 808 is a bit loud, so where are we? 808 bass. Yeah, let's just bring that down a tad. That's your bass and drums. So then we go on to all the kind of, there's a lot of components, musical components here. Probably way too much, but that's, you know, I'm a maximalist, not a minimalist. Always tried to be a minimalist, but it didn't work. Right, this synth is the Helix. Now, you probably, I don't know, you might know what the Audio Helix is. It's a really old but very cool synthesizer. And let's find Helix, because I think it's been updated. Good. Here we go. I love the Helix. This is what it looks like. The Audio Helix. Really, really, really nice synthesizer with a lot of kind of like a modular sort of patch thing going on here. And quite frankly, it's unique. It's a unique synth. I do keep coming back to it. On Yikes, it features a lot. The lead line in Had a Little Fight, dun 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 dun. That's the Audio Helix. So that made that pad, and then we've got the Monster Buzz Synth. I don't actually know. I don't know what synth that came from because I haven't got a synth called Monster. And then a pad off the Ace, which I showed you earlier. So that is our pad frenzy, and what do we do with it? Where do we put it? Oh, it looks like the final pad burn here. Yeah. Okay. Nothing. No effects on the subgroup. It's just there. Let's have a look at further down below that. Yeah, we got a piano. It wasn't live piano. I used the fantastic Piano Tech. And so yeah, it's a plugin. If you thought I played that, you are mad. Okay, I can't play like that. I don't know many people who can. There's some people in Japan who can, and they kind of did a cover version with their live band, and it was yeah, amazing. There's a Vanguard ARP. Vanguard is my go-to synth for ARPs and sort of trancey stuff. And also the Vanguard gave me these stabs, which are actually, it's a preset called Ferry Corsten, and you'll hear why. So I just tweaked that preset, and we've got those sort of trancey stuff. I use that sound on the Planet Cannot Fail as well. Just liked it then. Seemed to work. Now we've got some sort of sample bits going on here, which probably you've never heard because they're buried. Nice. Well, I feel like making a new tune with those because they're underrepresented in Meteorites. That happens sometimes. So we've got the chorus guitars. Jangly guitars. Okay, they've just got bog standard compressor, stereo expansion and limiter. The compressor's side chain, I believe it was activated by the vocal. I had to work really hard to get Elsa's vocal to sit and shine through, and to do that I had to take the mid-range musical content, things like the pads, the guitars, and basically have them side chaining to Elsa's vocals so that when she was singing they would come down in level, because otherwise they were competing for mid-range frequency space and it was kind of swamping her. So the other guitars I've got are in the second verse. I do like these actually, sort of pizzicato. So yeah, and they're kind of coming up and down so that they don't get in the way too much of Elsa. Here they are with Elsa.
Am I just a spectator in this meteoric game? If I blink I might miss you, and it's driving me insane. You win, thumbs up, hands down, do your art to me.
Yeah, I like that. It's nice. Then what else we got? So there's Elsa with her amazing vocal, and if you look, it's manually de-essed. So this is actually the best way of dealing with sibilance, is to go in on the waveform, find the S's. When you've done it a few times, you just learn what the S's look like. They're denser, and they kind of look like a rugby ball, and you can shot them really quickly and kind of select them all and bring them all down. It doesn't take long. It takes a bit of practice, but it's much more accurate than a de-esser. I've got a de-esser on her anyway because I had to de-ess it more because yeah, once you start trying to cut it to vinyl, it's a different matter altogether.
Just a spectator in this meteoric game. If I blink I might miss you, and it's driving me insane.
So my favourite really high quality de-esser is the Oxford Suppressor. It's really, really good. The Cubase one's pretty good too, but I don't really like the Waves ones. I like the Oxford Suppressor. I'm not really into the one in the Isotope Nectar vocal thing. I use Nectar for getting a character in the voice, but the de-esser I'm not that mad about. So this is, for me, the best de-esser.
You win, thumbs up, hands down.
So there you can audition actually effectively what's being taken away, and it's important to get this right. So a combination of de-essing by hand and de-essing with a de-esser as well, after because I used the gem dopamine. If you haven't watched the teardown that I did yesterday, this explains what the gem dopamine is. That was for Around the World in a Day, but it really, really enhances the vocal, but it does boost sibilance. So having done the manual sibilance, put the gem dopamine on, I have to do a little bit more automatic sibilance removal as well. And right, that's what's being removed. Okay, so this is the vocal, the mix. So you can audition inside the de-esser what's being removed, and outside it, which is
Just a spectator in this meteoric.
now obviously that's everything, all the sibilance removed. You don't want that. You want a mix like this.
Just a spectator in this meteoric game. Just a spectator in this meteoric game. Just a spectator in this meteoric game.
I think that's pretty much it. There's some whooshes. Oh yeah, there's this. I discovered this vocal that totally neglected originally 10 years ago, and it's lovely on the intro and the outro. Go on, Elsa. actually in the track she sounds like a synth, which I think is pretty cool. So what do we do on the master output bus? I put some nice EQ. That's the mag. The mag EQ is brilliant, by Plugin Alliance rather. It's really, really musical, really sweet, and I just boosted a little bit, 2.5 hertz, 2,500, and a little bit at 650, just to warm it up a little bit. Then it goes into the Oxford 9 maximizer, which is fantastic. I like to use IRC4 algorithm. That is the Intelligent Release Control Spectral Shaping for reduced pumping and distortion. There you go. And I set the threshold to just catch the peaks a little bit. Nice fast character. I keep the stereo independence on max, and transient emphasis should be on 100. 101 won't make any difference. Now I brought the input right down because everything was edging really hard and it was distorting the output bus, so I brought that right down, and there we go. Oh yeah, also this is a perfect use for this. The Magic AB. This is brilliant because what this does, it's really great if you're doing a kind of new mix down on an old tune, because you load the old tune into it for comparison. So there's the old tune. Let's get to a bit. Yeah, okay, get to that. Let's loop that. So remember, this is the original mix of Meteorites, and when I compare them, you're probably going to say you'd prefer the original. That's fine. The original is out there. It's because you're used to it. Anyway, horses for courses.
Don't tell me what's possible. Just meteor shower me.
Okay, that's the old one from 10 years ago. Now it's displaced, so this will play. This is the new mix. It's just in a slightly different time on the page.
Just a spectator in this meteoric game.
Yeah, and I think there's.
Don't tell me.
Yeah, it's better. The new one's better. It's less pumpy, less compressed, a lot more open. This tool, the Magic AB, it's not that cheap, but it's really, really good, because even if you're making a new tune, if you have an idea of how you want your new tune to sound, you can always load in a tune that you've done before or another tune by someone else, and it's not because you're emulating it, you're not, but it gives you a sort of it gives you somewhere to grab onto for the final kind of sound of your mix. It's really useful. Anyway, that is Meteorites, and I sincerely hope this has been useful for you, this walkthrough, and have a good day, have a good night, peace out. I'm going to do another one of these. I'll probably do it for what shall I do it for? I don't know, I'll decide. Anyway, love you, and thank you for listening, and check out Crikey. I think you'll like it.